What's up, guys? Crypto Muser here with your daily news and analysis in the crypto markets. Now, I'm going to be heading down to Miami to the Decentral, what's it called? The Decentral Miami Conference, crypto conference, the Web3 seminar, 3-day event. The one and only David Schwartz is going to be speaking, which I'm definitely going to check out. Crypto Lifer, big shout out to Crypto Lifer, Sam Price, my friend for almost 25 years or so, got me a press pass, invited me down to his Airbnb down there for a couple of days to hang out with him. I haven't seen him in I feel like it's been so long, a couple months now. But big shout out to Crypto Lifer. I call him the Cal Ripken Jr. of the cryptocurrency because he never takes days off. I think he's on like 600 and something days straight live streaming, which is got to be a record, right? Hardest working man I know. Can't say enough about him. My good friend. We're going to have a great time down there. But I think we got David Schwartz speaking, BitBoy Crypto is going to be there, Wendy O is going to be there, and many others. I can't, there's probably like 100 speakers, but should be a good time down in Miami. Flights tomorrow, can't wait, but definitely going to put a video out probably Tuesday night after we go to the conference on Tuesday. Give you guys any information, maybe even live stream with the Crypto Lifer down there to give you guys updates on what's going on. Should be fun. Definitely give you guys, be tweeting down there, taking videos, and giving you guys as much information as I possibly can. But let's just get into the video, guys. So first of all, David Schwartz said, I'm getting ready to head down to Miami for a fireside chat at the Decentralized Conference on Tuesday. Can't wait. Maybe I'll get to meet him. Imagine meeting, that's like one of my heroes, dude. If I get to meet David Schwartz, a.k.a. Joel Katz, it would be unbelievable. Anyway, John Deaton. Let's get right into the XRP news. So John Deaton tweeted this out. This is about Stuart Alderati. If you guys don't know, he is the lead counsel at Ripple. And he tweeted this out today, which was very interesting. And this is what John Deaton had to say about it. I encourage everyone to read the two tweets below. Read it and then just think about it. That's our SEC and Gary Gensler in action. Don't forget the co-lead SEC attorney prosecuting the Ripple case left midstream or mid-case to go work for BlockFi. Now, let's just read what Stuart Alderati tweeted out, and then we'll talk about the ins and outs of this, because this is where it gets very interesting, guys, if it'll load. So Stuart Alderati, lead counsel at Ripple, says, nothing was ever registered for the BlockFi SEC deal. If you don't know, BlockFi made a settlement with the SEC months ago for $100 million, right? So what about the first two payments of that $100 million fine? If they were made, did the SEC confirm BlockFi's ability to pay or the source of the funds? FTX shows a $250 million loan to BlockFi, and now customer funds are blocked. Excuse me. Despite BlockFi ending up intertwined with FTX and customers left holding the bag, the SEC still markets the BlockFi deal as another win for regulation by enforcement. Oh, what a tangled web. Now, this is where it gets interesting, guys. So, the SEC brokered that deal with BlockFi for $100 million, right? And what John Deaton says here is that the co-lead at the SEC, an attorney working for the SEC, left mid case with Ripple and went to go work with BlockFi and brokered the deal with the SEC with that $100 fine or $100 million fine. Now, would you think that they would see if BlockFi actually had that money to pay out to the SEC? The fact that they had to go to the FTX and basically get bailed out by FTX, and then I don't know if you guys know, but when FTX bailed out BlockFi, I forget, some employee at BlockFi said this. He said that in order for them to get bailed out by FTX, I think it was either Sam Bankman-Fried or somebody at FTX said that they had to store their funds. It basically was trying to get BlockFi to store their funds in FTX. And at first they were like, well, why would we do that? And later on they found out the reason why FTX wanted that is because they wanted their assets. They wanted to basically sell their assets and then use the funds to basically transfer over to Alameda Capital, their sister investment firm, basically, now that we found out, and use user money and they already use FTX user money to go, funnel through campaign donations in Ukraine and what else, right? He was buying. I mean, I got into this yesterday in the video, but he was buying houses under his parents' name, $100 million houses, and they had this huge penthouse down in the Bahamas. I mean, they bought the name rights to the Miami Stadium, the FTX Stadium, no longer the FTX Stadium. I mean, just endless money that he just was throwing around, like, and everybody's like, oh, he's just a billionaire, he's a philanthropist, he's trying to, he's giving campaign donations, but that's just normal. But meanwhile, he was taking user money and using it for all these things. And then when he brokered this deal with BlockFi, they just took BlockFi's assets and did the same thing with those. But here's where it gets interesting. Now, it's great. It's crazy that out of all people, Stuart Alderati is mentioning this because he knows now that if the SEC isn't getting that $100 million, then they can't. There's no big win for the SEC, and that this could mean a settlement. He's trying to. I think what Stuart Alderati is trying to do is to show muscle. Like, all right, you're not getting that $100 million, and it looks like you guys got like some shady deal here. That the guy that was working for the SEC went to BlockFi, and then you guys, made this deal happen, but no one even checked if BlockFi actually had the funds to pay it. So, I mean, the SEC looks worse and worse every day. That this FTX story gets deeper and deeper, and now it makes more sense why all these mainstream media outlets are just hiding, or burying the lead here and making SBF look like this poor kid that lost a bunch of money, but he's autistic, and he really meant well. He tried to give his money away, but he just lost a bunch of money, made some bad risky bets, and poor Sam Bankman-Fried, right? But I mean, that's not the real story, and we all know that. So even Jungle Inc. Had something to say about this tweet and this story here. So he said, SEC Attorney Bliss, lead attorney versus Ripple, quit mid-trial to go help BlockFi broker a deal with the SEC to pay $100 million over time. Number one, BlockFi is now bankrupt and the government will not get paid. Number two, customers suffer catastrophic loss. SEC brokered both sides of the deal. Now, this is where it's like the SEC, and this is what David Schwartz even said here, and this is what I was about to say, but I'll let David say it with his words. Worse, BlockFi borrowing funds from FTX for fines may be connected to BlockFi assets being stored at FTX. In other words, the SEC may have made BlockFi so weak financially after this $100 million fine that they gave them in the settlement that it had no choice but to store crypto at FTX to continue operating, possibly the cause of their own collapse. Now, what he's saying is what I just basically said, but he's putting all the blame here on the SEC. So basically what the SEC did is they put BlockFi in a situation where they couldn't, they were going to go bankrupt if they didn't get funding, right? So then FTX comes down, like, oh, we're the saviors of crypto. We're going to come help you guys out, but all you have to, we're going to loan you this money, but you have to store all your assets on FTX. And I remember seeing an interview with someone in BlockFi being like, we thought it was shady, but we didn't want to go bankrupt, and we just went through this lawsuit with the SEC, and no one thought Sam Bankman-Fried was this fraud, so it seemed like a good deal. But the reason why FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried wanted BlockFi's assets and wanted to so-called bail them out was they wanted their assets because they needed to bail themselves out. They were probably, at that point, this was only a couple of months ago, they were probably, I think it was at the end of 2021 that they realized that they were basically going to go bankrupt and they were going to go insolvent if they didn't make any quick changes, right? They were spending money on advertisements and all types of stuff way faster than the money was coming in. And obviously the market was crashing. No one knew that FTX was basically insolvent at that time. But the fact is, when they took over BlockFi's assets, the reason why they did that is because they wanted to steal their assets. So what they did was, as soon as BlockFi put their assets in FTX, see you later, right the back door, right over to Alameda Capital to use for risky leverage bets on who knows what, right? Or over to Ukraine, funnel it back through to congressional candidates or whatever. Like, who knows? We're not going to get all the information for another couple of weeks or even months. And the fact is, Congress is, who can you trust? If who was taking money, we don't know the full list of all the names that was taking money from FTX, and who's to know if they didn't know that. I mean, campaign donations come from everywhere, right? And who knows if they were complicit in everything FTX is doing. I'm sure most of them weren't, but I'm sure some of them definitely were. Because if you look at Sam Bankman-Fried's parents, I mean, they were well connected. So who knows how far up this goes? And like back to what I said, the fact that the news, every mainstream media article out there is basically a puff piece on Sam Bankman-Fried. I mean, it just goes to show that who knows, right? So moving on. So James Rule XRP, guys, he tweeted this out, and this is just a simple LinkedIn search, right? It's as easy as that. Where's the New York Times? Where's Wall Street Journal? All it takes is one simple LinkedIn search to figure out a little connection here with Ryan Miller, General Counsel at FTX, and Gary Gensler, head of the SEC. And a big shout out to James Rule XRP real quick, one of the all-stars in the XRP community. Gotta love the XRP community. I mean, to be a part of this group the last 4 or 5 years now, I can't say enough about everybody. The dirt that they dig up day in and day out about all the corruption in our own government, with Bill Hemmon, Jay Clayton, and Gary Gensler. It's been unbelievable to see how corrupt really our government and our the inner workings of the SEC has been corrupt for years, but it's really been so long. I mean, for this case to just come along, right? It's almost like he hated this case happening because XRP should easily, went past its all-time high to who knows what it would have been if this case didn't come down on Ripple and XRP. But it's also brought up a light on how corrupt the SEC is. So it's like kind of, you hate it obviously because you don't want this to hurt your investment, but you got to also think that this is going to be good for the future because it's shining a light on all this corruption and wrongdoings that the SEC and our own government has done. So, like I said, a simple LinkedIn search, and what did we find here? First off, this is by, once again, Ryan Miller, General Counsel at FTX US. He worked for Sullivan & Cromwell, which brokered the deal with Quorum, JP Morgan, and Consensus. Also, they were part of the Ethereum Alliance, I believe, until everything happened with Bill Hemmon. I think they dropped out of the alliance or something. I forget what was going on there. But then, surprise, surprise, look down here. This is from May 12th to September 2013. He was the legal counsel to Chairman Gary Gensler. Now, so you think he knows who Gary Gensler is? You think he could maybe, he has a connection there? They could have a deal and have a talk with Gary Gensler with the SEC? Maybe. Maybe this is all conjecture. Maybe this means nothing. But no one's talking about it. No one's talking. This whole FTX fiasco, right? This is why I'm bringing this up. Is because it kind of makes more sense. The reason why all these major media outlets aren't covering this case the way they should be. No mention of the SEC connections. No mention of the slush money going through Ukraine into all these campaign donations. No mention of all the money that they stole from users at FTX. The billions of dollars that he supposedly had, it all came from users. They had no money. He was so-called a billionaire, right? But where's the money? People were always questioning, where did this money come from? Oh, he was a crypto billionaire, right? But $1 billion is a lot of money. No one questioned where that money was coming from? No, he used user money from FTX and gave himself a $1 billion loan, right? Was buying houses for under his parents' names for millions of dollars, buying name rights to the FTX arena, not the FTX arena anymore, obviously in Miami. Super Bowl ads, campaign donations. He was buying a 10% stake in a bank in Washington State that had 3 employees or something. You're not going to get all this information. We're not going to get all the information in this, obviously, until there's an investigation done. But every day, something else new. We gain knowledge on something else, and it's pretty unbelievable. As this case gets bigger, I'll be on these, putting up these videos, trying to get as much information to you guys as possible because, it's like, there's a lot, right? It's a lot. Moving on real quick. So let me just point this out real quick. Digital Perspectives put this out, and I always think about this too, and it's so messed up. The SEC is going after Ripple, right? An American company. Sure, just remember, no fraud, no criminal activity was ever charged to Ripple. They went after an American company for so-called security sales, illegal security sales that they couldn't prove. They knew they couldn't prove. But meanwhile, they let FTX, they let Voyager, Celsius, the list goes on. They left all these fraudulent activity and scams. They let go right underneath their nose, right? But meanwhile, they go after Kim Kardashian, Ripple, Library. Like, it's such a show, right? It's such a show, and it's like the CFTC, the SEC, they're there to support protect investors. Do you guys feel protected at all? Does anybody feel protected by the SEC? I didn't think so. So moving on. So Digital Asset Investor posted this, and this has been something that, anybody that's been in the XRP community or that's been an XRP holder for long enough has been through the FUD. We're the most hated crypto in all crypto. I mean, by far. And what have we done? We've just stayed in the top 10 since its inception, right? We battled the number 2 spot with Ethereum until Ethereum got their free pass, and then we were at number 3 forever, and then the lawsuit comes down, and then we got down to like number 8 for a little bit there, and now we're back at number 4, right? Never dropped out of the top 10, even with this lawsuit, even with all the FUD, and being the most hated crypto in all of the whole space, right? Give me one other crypto that's hated more than XRP, or that's misunderstood more than XRP. So Digital Asset Investor posted this. It has been a coordinated effort for years. FUD bragging about shorting XRP, calling it a centralized security. The irony is most of the people behind all of it can be directly linked to almost every fraud and scam we've seen in crypto. Not a coincidence. And this was in relation to Matt Hamilton, who was a great XRP community member too. Also worked as a coder for Ripple for a little bit, and now he works for, I want to say Filecoin now. I think so. But anyway, he's always out there when everybody's trying to FUD XRP, he's the first one on there on Twitter to give, to back up XRP. It's decentralized. It's permissionless. It's almost more decentralized than most any other crypto out there. So it's amazing that we get this FUD all the time. And the fact that there was something like, I forget, I was going to bring it up, but there was something like, back in the day, there was some guy trying to pay 5 Bitcoin to someone that would dig up the dirt on a Ripple. So it's like there's like a paid effort to try to FUD XRP. It's been going on for years. Some people, I don't know if they just buy into it or if they just want to, I don't know what it is. Honestly, at some point, there's got to be a reason for why they want to FUD XRP like this all the time. It's the banker's coin, right?